The organization of military flyovers is no simple task. There are many people behind this enormous job, but there are two leaders that are part of the Air Force that take charge of this planning. Firstly is Katie Spencer. She is the sports outreach manager for the Department of the Air Force. She is responsible for approving the paperwork for the flyovers, as well as working with other departments to make sure that the flyovers are successful.
So it definitely takes a whole village, right? It's not just me that does it. We have a whole aerial events team within the Pentagon, and we review the paperwork. Once we approve it, then it goes to the pilots, right? The ones who do them. And then they look on the website and they go in and volunteer. And then when you're talking about big sporting events like the Super Bowl, that takes like a whole city to make happen, literally a whole city to make happen. Flyovers are at no additional cost to the taxpayer. So they are in no way, shape, or form a waste of money or gas. When we do flyovers, we use them with already allocated flying hours. These flyovers serve as time on target training for our pilots. And right now, we're going to support the Super Bowl next year, and we're already planning for that now because we're celebrating our 75th year as the Air Force. So it's going to be a big deal.
Secondly is Lieutenant Colonel Christopher McAlear. He is the Chief of Aerial Events for Air Combat Command. His responsibility is to approve the flyovers that contain any Air Combat Command aircraft. Lieutenant Colonel McAlear has extensive experience in commanding huge event flyovers such as Arlington funeral ceremonies and Super Bowls.
And so we were just trying to come up with something different. What's something different that you don't see every day that would be new and exciting? We came up with the bomber trifecta idea. It was probably within 5 minutes after we said, well, yeah, maybe we should give that a try, that I was like, wait a second, 52, 1, 2, that adds up to 55. You know, when you're trying to hit that last note of the anthem, or when you've got a time that really matters, there's a whole lot of planning that goes into it. And we spend hours making sure that our plan is as tight as it can be. When I was controlling the Super Bowl this year, we had 3 bombers that had to be over a point at exactly the right time, with that time changing inside of 10 minutes. And so for them to be able to maneuver those large aircraft and get over that point on time, it's simulating just like if they were downrange and they had to get to a point where they were going to release a weapon to support troops on the ground. And so the pressure when you're on that national stage, something like that is not combat. It's not like combat, but it's about as close to the pressure that you can simulate without actually being in combat.
In addition to his leadership experience with flyovers, he has also had the privilege of commanding the 4th of July flyover that was requested by the former President of the United States.
2 4th of Julys ago, we were trying to time flyovers in conjunction with his military speeches. In order to try to help set us up for success, the White House military office actually enabled me to go in and listen to the president practice his speeches. It was a great honor for me. I got to spend about an hour and a half in the president's presence. He would get to a point where he was saying something and he would actually pause and look at me and say, is that what I should say? Is that what I should use? What do you think about this? And so there were 3 or 4 different times where the president asked my opinion, and at least a couple of those, I know he changed his speech based on what the inputs I provided.
While both of their jobs seem complex with the amount of planning they need to complete, they both enjoy their jobs very much.
Reaching out to that next generation, trying to find my replacement, because I'm getting old and I ain't gonna be here much longer, I think is very important to our national defense. And if we can go out and inspire, and if we can go out and help them see that it really is a worthwhile job and a worthwhile occupation, then I'm doing my job. And so I love doing it.
I see like our vision come to life, and I see all of our hard work, coming over the stadium, and I look around and everyone just has their phone up and they're just so like mesmerized by this show of air power and the jet noise that you feel like deep in your soul. And to know that I had a tiny part of that, to know that I have like a tiny part in inspiring a little boy or girl to follow in our footsteps and join the Air Force, it's so humbling.
Reporting for Scott Center News, I'm Preston Kwok.